custodians of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, and welcome to Platos Cave on this wonderful December 11th, 2025. Only a few more days left in that year. That's ominous, but not at all. No, not at all. Coming to you from Australia, London, on the 4 Revolution Radio, on revolution.radio, listener-funded radio, no less. So if you can, please do donate. Any kind of currency is good, including crypto. Gold, silver, diamonds, if you can spare them, please card them up. Shove them down the cable. I'm sure it'll get here somehow. And you can listen to us on pretty much any platform. We're out there, literally everywhere. Dave is, I think, has put us out into everything, and we're posting into everything, especially our shorts. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah. But maybe you want to listen at home. You can. That's good too. On a Grace Tabletop Digital Radio. No problem with that at all. Not at all. But if you do see us out in the world, please like, subscribe, share, comment, etc. It's all good. Come to the station, become a donor. That's all good too. You can even buy our merchandise. I don't think anybody has ever bought our fantastic, fashionable, amazing, slow fashion Zazzle merchandise. That's what it is. That's what that is, all right? Another good reason to come to the webpage, the radio station's webpage, is the archives, which are free, completely free, and there's a lot of them. So if you like the content, please go ahead and enjoy that too. Literally, just follow the bouncing ball, real easy, and you can download it to your computer or whatever device in audio format. It's all good. Now, before we start broadcasting at you in anger, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast. And for Dave,
it's the Dark and Young.
Thank you, sir. For myself, of course, as always, the Dark people. And with that, we would like to acknowledge the elders past, present, and future. Thank you so much. I want to say something which really upsets me.
Well, you've got the mic.
And what upsets me is ignorance. Now, Dave informs me that we were, I don't know, one of our shorts or whatever was deleted on the platform. I'm not going to say which platform, it doesn't really matter. But I want to be very clear here, right? If it is speculative, if we are speculating, we will say so. We will say, oh, look, this is what we think, and this may or may not be so. But if it is not speculative, we will say so as well.
Yeah.
Telomeres are, in fact, the end. I don't care. Telomeres are the end bits on your DNA. That's
true.
Full stop.
Truth.
Well, that's a fact. A fact. They are.
Science.
They get shorter each time. It's science. Yeah. Each time your cells divide, the attending DNA within the cells shortens. The telomeres shorten, I should say.
That's right.
Until they reach the Hayflick limit, at which point they can no longer copy themselves, and the cell reaches senescence, which is cell death. Okay, about 40 copies or so each cell has. Telomerase is an enzyme. That's also true. It's an enzyme. Enzyme. The enzyme protects the telomeres during the copying process. That's a fact.
That's right. Fact.
It is also a fact that telomerase is switched off in the human body in your 20s. It differs from person
thereabouts.
To person. What that then does, it causes your body to age because telomerase is no longer protecting the telomeres. Therefore, the copying process is no longer perfect, and little flaws, come in, and they're expressed. If the flaws accumulate in the copying process, they express as wrinkles. they express as bags on the eyes, they express as joint pain, they express as gray or white hair or hair loss for that matter, vision loss. Essentially all the signs of aging. That's what that does. Those are all facts. It is also a fact that once a cancer starts growing in your body, okay, it switches telomerase back on. Essentially protecting itself, the cancer that is.
That's right.
During the copying process, making perfect copies of the cancer cells. Therefore, for all intents and purposes, of course, they're not immortal because they die when you die. Pretty much, the cancer dies when the body dies. But the point is, cancer cells, in and of themselves, are immortal, if you will, because of that protection.
Their ability to protect themselves through the copying process. Yes.
Good. None of that is speculation.
No.
None of this. This is it is cutting edge science, granted. It is cutting edge science, and some biologists are lending behind it, understanding what it actually means. But I resent the nobbins that tell me that I'm peddling misinformation. Okay, that's the one thing there are a number of things Dave and I don't do. We don't peddle misinformation, willingly or knowingly. If we are wrong, we'll admit it. We'll say, "Hey, we were wrong." But no problem with that at all. We do not pander, which means we're not an echo chamber for you. If you come here to have your point of view reinforced, well, it might be, but we don't aim to. We just tell you things. We share articles with you. We give our interpretation. We try to put it into historical contexts. We try to put it into current affairs contexts. We try to, stay on the edge of cutting edge science because it's interesting and you might not have the time to look at it. And I've had a few comments from people recently, in fact, that go, that show you guys did on the pineal gland. That's really interesting. I didn't know that stuff. No, it is interesting. Absolutely.
Yep.
But again, most of the stuff is fact, and I resent the coconut heads that tell me I'm peddling misinformation.
The actual violation which I think is comical. It says it's violation reason misinformation. In a global community, it is natural for people to have different opinions, but we seek. That's the platform. We seek to operate on a shared set of facts and reality. We do not allow inaccurate, misleading, or false content that may cause significant harm to individuals or society, regardless of intent. Significant harm includes physical, physiological, societal harm, and property damage. Now, Mackie, my telomeres, I don't think they've ever left my body to cause property damage or societal harm for that matter. We didn't do anything out of the ordinary, but you know what? You're not allowed to talk about it. Let's just put it that way.
So, I find this interesting. I didn't see the whole thing because I couldn't scroll that far, but it makes no sense. So, I suspect, I do not know, but I'm hypothesizing, everybody. To be clear.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Something that wasn't human listened to our short, because it was a short, and was hallucinating, whatever it said. Because, again, facts are facts. That it's
it's all verifiable.
Sometimes, yeah, absolutely. Now, sometimes an accepted fact, like the Earth is flat, or the sun revolves around the Earth, they are updated, and with more learning. As you learn more, you update your facts because that fact is no longer, to the best of your knowledge at that time, you thought this was a fact. To the best of your knowledge. Then you learn more and you go, oh, hey.
I remember when Galileo got kicked off social media, Mackie. That's what happened.
They talked to me. So, just on that fact, Thailand and Cambodia are fighting again.
That's
Fact.
true.
The Americans have just requisitioned a. This is interesting. This is a Panamanian oil tanker on the way to Cuba. Was it carrying Venezuelan oil, crude? Probably, but it was a Panamanian tanker on the way to Cuba. Also,
it's now been
at the
captured by the
same time.
US.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, they keep the oil, keep the tanker thing. Look, again, that's not the problem. I have no problem with that because that's, if there's sanctions against Venezuelan oil, then fair enough, and which they are, of course, at the moment, right? So I got no problem with it. The problem that I have is this: while that is happening, Russia and Putin specifically has a whole shadow fleet of tankers shipping his oil all over the place, and the US is doing exactly nothing about it.
Of course,
zero. Okay, just to be clear, so just so we're all on the same page here. Yeah. So again, I have no issue with America saying, "Hey, this is sanctions, so you shouldn't do this." Good, but then move an aircraft carrier fleet into the North Sea, just on the doorstep of Russia. Why don't you do that? Go on. It will never happen. It will never happen. And while we're on the topic, right, peace process is completely halted. It's not going anywhere. The Russians have no intention or motivation. When I say the Russians, it's Putin has no motivation, no intent to have peace. He's happy to throw his people needlessly, senselessly into the meat grinder. Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, now millions of Russian young men, and not just Russian, but anyone he can find, and put a gun in their hand and go fight. It is going nowhere real fast, and Donald Trump has flip-flopped again. A month ago, it was a month ago, he said, "Oh, the Ukraine has good chance of winning the war." Remember when he said that? He said that, and now he's flip-flopped and says, Ukraine can never win this war. It's I don't know. I feel like, I know I'm not for these things, but maybe I feel like I'm slipping in and out of realities, right? But one day it's like this, and the next day it's like that. Flip flop, slip slop, and here we go. It's complete insanity. It makes no sense. It makes no sense, Dave. I spent a lot of time over the last couple of days listening to the things he's saying on the air, and he was quite coherent initially, and certainly his first term. Like, he was, I mean, you might not like what he said or what he did, but he was sharp. He was spot on, right? He was sharp. He's not a stupid guy. And I saw the same decline in Biden. If you look at Biden as vice president under Obama, it's a completely different person to when he was president. Like, I mean, it's like day and night. And Donald Trump is now in the same boat, where you look at his first term, this guy now is a completely different guy, unhinged to some extent, but certainly suffering from, he's like that old relative you have sitting with you at Christmas or any family gathering, who'll just tell you about the onion on his belt, right? And the copper penny, whatever, right? and he'll tell you the same thing 15 minutes later, and 15 minutes after that, and he'll or she will repeat the same thing over and over and over and over, and it'll be like as though the mind is stuck on a certain thing. Back in the olden days, when we had records on the record player, the needle sometimes, the record might have been scratched, and the needle would jump back, on its track and play the same, few seconds again and again and again. This is what it now feels like with Donald Trump. He is no longer sharp, and I think he knows he isn't. Why he's more aggressive in his attacks, and his attacks are quite vicious, I have to say. The things he says are like you wouldn't say them if you were a CEO, if you were anybody else in the public eye, anybody else, right? And I guess there's the Trump factor here we have to allow for. But if he was anybody else in the public eye, he would now be asked to go, right? The things he has said. And they all say, oh no, he's joking, or he's very transparent. It is completely insane. I have no words anymore. I'm not even looking for stuff. It's just the first thing I click on. It's the first thing I click on. I'm not looking for it. I don't have any search terms. I just go to my homepage, or home pages, I should say, for different things. And there it is. Another insanity. Thank you very much. And I don't know, at what point do you invoke, I can't remember which article it is, but there's an article in the Constitution which allows for the removal of the presidents when they're no longer fit to serve. The same thing they called for Biden, right?
I'm going to say it's got to be a long way down the track, because they didn't call it for Biden at all.
No,
not even at the end.
I know they didn't, but they should.
No, they should have, but they never did. So set a precedent. Yeah, but and how far down the track does it have to be? Does he have to be sitting in a chair dribbling or something? I don't know.
Well, I think, to be honest with you, I think Donald Trump is worse than Biden was, right? So, and this is the first year of his term. So the next, couple of years, really, the next couple of years will be not very good, to use a technical term. not very good, Mickey. It is. I don't know. It's becoming unhinged, and now, of course, you have the people in the background, pushing their agendas more and more. Because look, as he was signing his executive orders, he didn't even know what he was signing. Because I a couple of times said, "Oh, what's this one? Oh, what's this one?" Then the guy that stood behind would say, "Oh, it's this and that," and "Oh, it's the other one," or blah, or whatever.
Maybe he needs glasses and he's just too afraid to wear them in public. Maybe you can't read it. The text is too small. Who knows?
Did you know there's a rumor that's going around that, in fact, he can't read. That he's severely dyslexic.
That makes total sense. Mm-hmm.
It does. I'm not being mean. I mean, that's what's going around out there.
Well, so you said it's a rumor. So rumors are rumors. Yeah. Truth or not. So when there's a whole bunch of silence, Mickey, people's imaginations go in every direction. So I'm sure some people land on the truth when there's silence, and that's why companies are meant to, control the narrative rather than leaving silence, because everyone can make up their own mind for themselves and then believe it entirely. I'm not saying anything about you, but so if that's the truth, wow, okay, that's really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen him read anything. I know he's held cards. I don't remember those big A0 cards and things like that, and he didn't read what was on it.
A couple of times. No, he didn't. But a couple of times he held them the wrong way around, which was interesting. And I just want to say thank you, Fleece and Desist. It's the 25th Amendment.
There you go.
It's the 25th, which addresses the presidential succession and disability. At which point, of course, the vice president would step in, etc., etc. Thank you, Fleece and Desist. Much appreciated. But you're right, Dave. It's look again. The truth is that adult illiteracy is a fairly significant issue in the first world, even in Australia. It's a fairly significant issue, and this illiteracy can come about through various factors. It could be lack of opportunity, for instance, right? It could be a condition like dyslexia, which was never diagnosed, so you never really got a running start, right? So you never really got the help that you needed. So it's not nothing to make fun of, because it's a serious thing, and the more we do about it, and there are a lot of programs in Australia. I don't know about America, but in Australia, there are a lot of programs that are really good helping people that are illiterate for whatever reason, for whatever reason. So, and sometimes I guess people try to fool you and just memorize the text, because maybe they didn't have any time or any opportunity to study at home because it was a broken home. And look, I mean, there's so many different reasons. Anyway, but I am worried that his mental state is or seems to be declining. And what worries me, if it was just any old guy, so whatever. Okay, but this guy holds the codes to the most powerful nuclear arsenal in the world. He is the commander-in-chief of what is arguably the most powerful army in the history, or in the known history, I should say, of the world. Right? So these are all true things. And now he has moved the carrier group off the coast of Venezuela. The mind boggles.
It's a huge show of force, but I to be honest, I was questioning. Yeah. Well, it's going to cost that regardless of where you put it, though. So, is it better in the South China Sea? Is it better over here in the Mediterranean? Where's it better off?
To move them. If once they're there, it's okay. They can stay there. That's okay, right? But to actually move them, that's anyway, whatever. But yeah, is it better off? Maybe. Who knows? But there's no imminent threat in the Caribbean that I know, unless the Pirates of the Caribbean are making a comeback.
I see. I want to see Johnny Depp back. That is that character. I love him.
I know.
I like. Was it the methy meme of the dude who kind of looks like Johnny Depp, but he's kind of leaning right back when he's walking. It's a very funny meme. I wanted to say, I've got a news story here, Mackie, which I thought you might be able to chime in on. And this was...
Keith Richards?
Yeah, I know that Johnny Depp used Keith Richards as his model for creating the character. Yes. But there's something else. So, Eurovision contest in 2026 coming up. It's coming up. I like to watch it. It's at the wrong time zone for here, so you stay up all night hoping Australia's going to get somewhere. It never does. And why we're still in it, I don't know, but, it doesn't matter. And because it's Eurovision, and people aren't usually singing in their natural country's language either, because they want to have a wider audience. And it's extraordinary that some of the craziest looking and sounding and performing artists perform in this thing called Eurovision. I'm sure you could find stuff out there. ABBA made their debut on Eurovision.
That's right.
So it does have a very high, very high standard of at least 3% of the people who are performing. The rest, they do fall behind, and the countries put their best one forward. We've tried and been a spectacle, or just putting your hand to your forehead and say, oh, why do they do this? But anyway, that aside, Iceland now joins as the 5th country to boycott Eurovision over the Israel participation.
Yeah.
So
soon it'll be Olympics, Germany and Israel. That's it.
Only. That's right. Only. There's at least a first. You're going to podium anyway, right? So, look, I thought that was a very interesting story to find. Not mentioned in our mainstream media, but it's certainly there, and I'm disappointed. I always get disappointed when people boycott the Olympics. They're sports people. Don't be political in sport. The people train for 4 years to be in the Olympics. It's their maybe it's the sweet spot in their career as a sports person to actually be the best at the time that event is on, and then to be in a country that boycotts it. What a waste! What a complete waste. We don't get to see it.
But no, I hear what you're saying, but this is very interesting and I guess, a topical conversation. Should political considerations, political realities, preclude scientists or athletes or artists, for that matter, from participating in whatever, the Olympics or singing contest? Doesn't really matter what it is, right? Now, this is a very interesting thing. So countries that have been boycotted or have, raised the boycott themselves, of course, were the Soviet Union, the Moscow Olympics in 1980. America didn't go, right? In 1984, Russia didn't go. Right?
That's right.
So is that fair? I don't know. South Africa was not allowed to come for a long time to any international event for a very long time.
Yeah,
because they were obviously,
apartheid.
They had the apartheid regime. So with this though, with Israel as well, it's a fair question. Now, Israel has been found guilty of genocide by the International Criminal Court. That's a fact. Okay, I'm not making this up, which I find, again, to me, this was an astounding thing when it happened. So, and that is, well, maybe even worse than what the South Africans did, right? In many ways, because they didn't have a program of genocide against the African or the dark skin population of South Africa. There was no program of extermination there. So, should or shouldn't it? It's a really tough one. Now, from the individual artist or athletes or scientists or whatever perspective, of course, it's unfair. But you cannot ignore the political realities. You can't ignore the fact that if let's say Israel won, for argument's sake, let's say Israel wins, in the same way that Ukraine won, because I'm not saying it was a pity vote, but
that's right.
Everybody was so happy. Ukraine is there, hurrah! Blah blah blah. Wonderful. And the funny thing is this: nobody would bat an eyelid if Russia was banned. Nobody.
That's right.
Nobody. That's fair. But no, it's Israel, because the Germans obviously still suffering from this collective guilt. They said if you're excluding Israel, we're not going, and that actually is a threat that means something, because Germany pays for a lot of it.
Yeah,
just so we're clear, right?
So I want to say what the other countries are, Mickey. So the other countries, interestingly enough, are Ireland, Spain, the Netherlands, and Slovenia.
Slovenia, yeah, a new country. Yeah. It's now. I will say
says in the news article
that more countries will join. I have a feeling more countries will join, and what may happen, I'm not saying it will, but may happen, is that Israel, or the artist that Israel puts forward, may choose not to go in order to preserve the integrity of the Eurovision contest. But then you can also argue, well, if that happens, then do we really have a contest? Because the contest, I mean, it came into being to bring Europe together after World War II. That's why we have Eurovision, right? And again, it came along after the common market was established, the European Union, etc., just to bring people together on that level, because all the European countries, I remember I never missed it when I was living in Germany, right? And I know a lot of people in their respective countries watched it because they wanted to see how their people did, etc. So it was a well-watched event, and it did bring Europeans together, and it was also Europeans voting. So each country has a vote or several votes, and then it's tallied at the end.
Yep.
So there's no real favoritism as such,
and there's a lot of patriotism, Mickey.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you come together as Europeans, but you are competing, and there's a certain national pride if you do win. Again, for the life of me, I don't know why Australia participates, but whatever, it's all good. I don't mind. I mean, it's funny, but it's like the same thing if we started participating in an African song contest for some reason. Why? I don't know. makes no sense, but there we are. But these are realities, and these are really tough things to consider. They are. Do we agree with Israeli policy in Gaza? No. Does the person that is representing Israel agree with those policies? Maybe not. Now, if that person that Israel wants to send was going to say, "Oh yeah, I hate all Palestinians, we should kill them all," okay, I'll say, okay, now we have a problem. I got it.
That would be bad.
No, but you know what I mean? That's a big bad thing to do, right? If that singing person, but I can't imagine anyone that is artistically. Oh, no, who knows?
That's right.
But I don't think that would happen. Right? So, but you are punishing. See, ultimately, you're punishing the artist more than anyone else, right? And then you can also argue, well, if go on.
There's even more to this story. There's even more, Meki. It says members voted to adopt tougher contest voting rules in response to allegations that Israel manipulated the vote in favor of its competitor, but took no action to exclude any broadcaster from the competition. This is from the abc.net.au news.
Well, look, what can I say?
Yeah.
If I guess, if
you just have to see if Israel wins first, second, and third place.
Well, no, I was going to say any contest lends itself to manipulation, right?
That's right.
If there's a chance to cheat, someone may very well cheat. I don't know what to say to that. That's just funny. But look, these are realities, and these things all came about to bring us closer. I mean, the UN was established to bring us closer together.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really work all that well. Right?
Well, that's right.
And now, but you know what's really interesting, Dave? I don't know if you saw this, but there was a foreign policy paper that was released this week by the US. It's just the policy for the next bit.
Sure.
And what it said was essentially that Trump wants to engage more in Asia and in America, essentially, right? And not at all in Europe. That's essentially what he said. So he said to the Europeans, essentially, keep saying that, you're on your own.
Hanging them out to dry, is that right?
Yeah, you're on your own. That's it. So not really interested in this whole European thing. That's yours. So going back to the Monroe Doctrine,
yes,
of a while ago.
I saw that document.
America for Americans.
Yeah, I saw an article on that. Yeah, totally.
I mean, again, it's not a new position. We're talking like the 19th century here, right? It's not a new position for America to take. The Americans said wanted nothing to do with European wars.
Mm-hmm.
The Americans didn't want to enter World War I. The Americans didn't want to enter World War II.
Nope.
And they certainly didn't want to go into Vietnam. Not really. I mean, I'm talking about the American people now, right? They had no interest. No interest. Congress, Senate, nobody wanted to. But certain power elites, parasites, did, because there's a lot of money to be made. A lot of money. Okay? And they thought, oh, this is just good, let's do that. And then you've got Lusitania, you've got Pearl Harbor, Gulf of Tonkin incident. I'm not even going to talk about 9/11. But somebody wants something to happen, they can make it happen, just to be clear, right?
Don't even go inside.
If you're powerful enough, if you have enough money, and no, you don't have to worry about keeping it a secret, really. Not really, right? We talked about this before. Dave had a really good example. I think it was the NSA, right, that you gave as an example.
That's right.
Nobody knew. And nobody knew about the stealth bomber that was being built either. We're talking about thousands, if not tens of thousands of people involved at some level.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't leaked.
We didn't find out until it was retired.
Yeah. So
its first day of active service was after the creator had passed away.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
And so, point, of course, being again, this is a proof point that secrets can absolutely be kept. Because people say, oh, well, if UFOs were real, then, everybody would know about it. Well, first of all, there are whistleblowers that are saying they're real. We just don't believe them.
That's right.
Number one. Number two.
Hang on, we're told not to believe
any
them.
real... Yeah, exactly. Any real tangible proof can be suppressed. Like a physical being from another world. But I was going to mention this, Dave. Non-human biologics. Non-human biologics. Yep. Now, what that means is, and I know I'm going to sound like I'm telling everybody how to suck eggs.
Here we go.
It just means they're non-human.
That's
now,
right.
This doesn't at all imply extraterrestrial. At all. Just non-human biologics. So, as you know, we've got several theories as to what this might be, and one of them is that it could be a race with which we've been sharing this planet for a long time, and we are the third world as far as they're concerned.
Yep.
It could be interdimensional. It could be us in the future, but post-human future.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a post-human kind of thing. So that explains, because it's a very specific term if you think about it. Now, if I were a UFO guy that was, whistleblowing, and I wanted to say extraterrestrial or non-terrestrial or non-solar system or whatever, right? Then
sure.
I would say that. But they didn't say that. Very
That's
specifically, right. They didn't say that. They said non-human What is the word biologics anyway? It doesn't matter. It's just anyway. So, but they're very clear on what they said. Non-human biologics. Now, I believe, and have for the longest time, that the actual inhabitants of the Earth, the original, if you will, because I think we were interfered with, are what we call Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, etc. They are the actual ones that inhabit this place on the surface, right? Those are the races that were here and maybe manipulated and turned into us, potentially. And then you've got, people that are living underground. And I mean people, not humans, just a whole bunch of people under the sea as well. Okay? So, and the reason I'm saying this is because when there's a UFO sighting or other strange goings on, there are other things that happen at the same time. You do have sightings of black dogs. You have sightings of Sasquatch, Yeti, etc., as well as UFO sightings at the same time. Other phenomena as well. Disappearances, for instance, right, are closely linked to both UFOs and Sasquatch, Bigfoot, right? So it isn't too far-fetched to say that these things are connected, and I think they're very deeply connected, in fact. And in fact, I also believe that Bigfoot and his cousins is using the gate system that we clearly have on this planet. Clearly. And I'm reminded of the story. I was watching a documentary, two Native two indigenous Americans in Canada, specifically in Canada. One was telling the other story in an interview, obviously it's a documentary, and he said he went hunting. I think he went hunting with his cousins or something. And they're deep in the woods, and they saw a Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and it was doing something on a sort of a mossy rock wall, if you will, right? And it did something. It manipulated the wall or something. Couldn't really tell because the body was in the way. But it was here one moment, they said, and gone the next. Right? And
like,
we do
like
have
it entered a gateway
strange...
or something. That's right.
Correct. And we do have these very strange carvings in the mountains, especially in South America, the Andes, for instance, right? There are these doorways, literally doorways carved into the mountain.
That's right.
Not some are small, some are big, and for all intents and purposes, they look like like doorways or gates or whatever. Of course, it's not, because it's rock, right? But what if it were? What if there's a technology that could turn that into a gateway. Maybe it denotes a stationary gateway, because I believe there are two. There are gateways that are stationary, that's stable, and I also believe there are gateways that are, well, unstable, that move around. And to be clear, to keep anything in place is really, really hard from a technology point of view, especially if you're trying to get two fixed points in a reality, because obviously the Earth is moving about at an enormous speed through the universe, right? We're never standing still. There's no such thing as a fixed. Do you know there's no such thing as a fixed point in the universe? Doesn't exist. Everything is moving all the time, and usually fairly rapidly. It's really interesting. And if you said I want to stand still, you
would
find
disappear off the
space
Earth really quickly. Yeah.
Really quickly indeed. So, but again, we like to forget these simple realities, right? And it would take an enormous amount of energy and an enormous amount of technological know-how to stabilize gates like that, in my opinion. If they're wormholes or some such, I mean, maybe it's something completely different. And wormhole is not really the right way to describe it. I don't know. But it is clear that they exist. Which reminds me of a really tragic story, Dave, here in, I think it was in Western Australia, where they still haven't found the little boy. I think he's 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And they still haven't found him.
That's right.
I mean, where could he possibly have gotten to? We don't have any large... Okay, in Australia, we don't have any large predators. The biggest predator we have is a dingo, which is like a wild dog, but I don't think that any dingoes were around that area. But we don't have any bears. There are no wolves. There are no big cats. In that particular area, there weren't any crocodiles either, inland, right? So we don't have any large predatory animals that would explain where the little boy could disappear to. So this is just a mystery that...
well, they went looking for him again.
And there was nothing wrong with the boy either.
No, that's right.
Yeah, no, they started again. And they started looking at the mine shafts. They started looking at the dams, little ponds that are on these farmsteads. And again, zero. I find this hard to believe.
Fleece said salties. No, not at that point inland. No, there's no salties or freshies there. So
not inland.
No, not inland. No, not where they were. Mackie, there was something really extraordinary in England because of Keir Starmer's aggressive policies. The people on the federal website instigated a petition for an immediate general election. And
really?
Yeah, totally, because they can't believe that this guy's doing all this stuff. It's the same. It's the methodology, Mackie, of Australia for that matter, because we're ruled by the jailers. We're not ruled by the convicts, because people complain that Australia was, born out of convict, but we're not. Our laws are the jailer's laws. And Keir Starmer, I think he was an ex-police officer, and he is quite the same. We just need more laws. More laws fix everything. They do. They fix. And so all the things that's going on right now, all the digital ID and everything like that, the carbon, remember how he introduced carbon allowance per person as soon as digital happened, and then the banks, he wants to have digital ID connected to your bank account to stop illegal immigration and legal workshops, right? What? Yeah, well, you can't get paid, you can't access your money if you don't have the digital ID. So everyone's like, what? Hang on a minute. So what's happened is the petition, which is just recently closed, December 5th, has ended with a total of 1 million signatures. That's pretty good for England. It only needed, I think, 2,000 signatures to get read in.
Wow.
So it's well past it. Okay. Yeah, it's more than 2,850 constituents signed it in Nigel Farage's seat, and 1,618 signed it where Keir Starmer in his constituency. But
no, that means that people are really, really unhappy.
Oh,
really
totally.
unhappy.
There was actually another one that they did. They did another one earlier that I think had 3 million, and that was for to hold an inquiry or something. But at least what they don't want is Keir Starmer anymore.
Wow.
That's quite obvious now.
Look. No, this is you've got Keir Peterson, yeah, but this is the No Keir's Club.
That's right. So, I wanted to put that out there because it's an extraordinary thing. I know we've tried in the past in Australia to do similar things, but our parties just swap in new leaders, and it's like, oh, that makes it better, doesn't it? Maybe not, right?
But see, I think the cardinal mistake that the Liberals made, they put Voldemort in charge.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that just broke their back. I don't understand. Look,
and he lost.
I have nothing against anyone, really. He did lose his seat. I've got nothing against anyone, really. But everybody's trying their best, I'm sure, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that guy was he really was.
And he was
Voldemort
an ex-police officer.
Australian politics.
Mm-hmm.
He was. Again, let's not say anything against him.
Oh, I know.
Really
I'm not saying anything against police officers, right? At all. Not even for a second.
Yeah. But he was harsh. He had no heart at all. He was like when he was working with Scotty for marketing, he was like what's the best word? I guess the bad cop.
Yeah, that's right.
To find the point.
Good cop, bad cop. That's right.
Yeah, and that completely destroyed his public image because he styled himself to be that bad Voldemort-looking person. They tried to, because he never smiled.
They tried to soften him up
for prime minister or leader.
That's right.
Yeah, he started smiling and telling, and he shots with his family, and they know that it's not a hostage situation. These are actually my people. So, but
that's
really interesting.
Remember the favorite line from the movie, Mackie? It didn't test well. So they trialed all of this stuff, and it just kept getting worse. It didn't matter how hard he tried. It's kind. Remember in Terminator #2 when the young boy tries to get Arnie to smile, and he just looks like he's growling, like it's not a smile born from happiness. It's just
Gotta stop now. My face is hurting.
And it made him worse.
He's never moved. He's gone.
And that's the funny part. That's what the goggles. I'm going to say goggles. People that we use some real acid. So yeah, it didn't help at all for the cause, and so there he didn't get up. So. Mickey, here's something else, a really weird story I found. Now, in Australia, we just give all of our natural resources away, apparently, to everybody else, almost for free. Our energy cost as a consumer is so costly that it's people are making choices. Do I cool and warm the house, or do I eat, right? And we were promised all these things. I'm not trying to be political here. I just wanted to make a point. So I've found a story that says Australia's energy rule maker calls for Netflix-like power charges, where you just have a subscription to having power. Instead.
Oh, yeah.
And this new story's on the screen here. But it says electricity companies would be prevented from slugging customers who don't shop around with a loyalty tax under a proposed major shake-up of power prices. Now, I know what the loyalty tax is. It's actually if you don't move around, your energy prices go up, and they go, well, they're not going anywhere. We'll just charge them more. And when you call up another provider and they say, we can offer you this really good price to come across to us, you go back to your own power provider and they go, since you're leaving, we'll offer you a cheaper price. Now, my
Yeah,
argument
yeah.
is, why did you not offer me that price before I started looking? Oh, because we want, we want to ensure blah. No, you don't. You're just milking us for all you can. And that's my opinion, because
Correct.
I know
100%.
that's the conversation I had with them. And if anyone is working from my former power company, you can go and look up the records. If they kept the voice recording, that's absolutely the truth. So it annoys me, Becky, that's where they want to come to.
Yeah.
But if they're encouraging us to move around to keep our prices low, there's something wrong with the market.
Well, there is. Now, what the politicians don't want to do is regulate, because that looks bad on them, right? And then they can't get a job in whatever industry. They might want to get a job afterwards.
Oh,
So
that's right, because they
absolutely true.
retire out
And in
into
fact,
those industries.
across-
Yeah.
They do, because it's actually true across the entire services sector, not just utilities, but telephony, anything really. If you stay with any provider for anything really, that's your own fault. You're stupid if you do that. And they're counting exactly on that, on the loyalty factor and on the lazy factor. These two factors where people are going to change, so I'm going to just slug them more until you find the breaking point. You go, oh shoot, I've got too far.
Nuts.
And then they offer you the discount, right?
That's
I
right.
heard something else. That's the discount point. But I heard something else that came up for the first time, either today or yesterday. I can't remember. And I heard it in two different places. Now they're interviewing these economic experts, et cetera, et cetera. And the question was asked. This is specifically within the American reference framework. Why is the cost of living so bad? Why do we have an affordability problem? And what these people said, independently of each other, I guess, it's AI. What do you mean? Well, AI requires a lot of electricity, a lot of power. And because the demand for electricity is now accelerating at never before seen levels, it's just supply and demand. If everybody wants whatever it is, and there's only so much of it, it becomes more expensive. And electricity is a finite resource. There are only so many power plants, if you will, right? That can only produce so much power. If you want more, then you have to, make more power plants or whatever, right? And that takes time. And certainly the green power alternatives aren't quite there yet. I think they'll never
That's an
get
understatement.
there. And we haven't got fusion figured out. Yeah, we haven't got fusion figured out. Nobody wants nuclear for whatever reason, even though I think that nuclear is more and more, or presenting itself more and more as a viable solution, especially if you use thorium. Thorium, you just got a tokamak, and off you go. But this is a problem, Dave. Now, because energy consumption is what underlies most things. And it drives the price of most things. If you had free energy, for argument's sake, you wouldn't have any of these pressures, and the cost of living would be quite bearable, right? In fact, most things would be free. But think about that for a second. We are now competing, look, we've said this before. We are now competing with AI. And AI is not stopping yet. No one is stopping AI. Look at the sales figures for NVIDIA.
Yeah, that's right.
This is just going to get worse.
And they've just allowed the sale of the H200 chip to China now from NVIDIA. That's a big call. And I wonder who did that, Becky.
But imagine that.
You were talking about him just recently. Starts with a T's, orange. He called someone Piggy. That's the guy.
Oh, I know.
That's
Kermit the Frog. I know he's green. Sorry.
Kermit the Frog here.
Yeah, look. Again, he is losing. He's losing ground, and I love watching American news because it is so polarized.
Oh yeah, totally.
It is hilarious. There's no middle ground. Like if you go watch this channel, you know what to expect, and if you're gonna go and watch that channel, you also know exactly, right? It's insane. Fleece and Desist said something very interesting.
Yeah.
Go on.
Diver Dan 2 and Fleece and assisted typing. So I sent you an AI determining left or right bias script for our AI. I might actually pop it into the chat room for everybody.
Yeah, please do. That's music. I quickly want to share what Fleece and Assist said. Nobody can even tell us why we have to have this mad-2 AI. That's a very good point. And I still don't know what are we mining to get Bitcoin? I still haven't got an answer to that, by the way. What are we mining to get Bitcoin? If anybody has the answer, let me know. Now, that's the music. Don't go anywhere. Something else is going to come up. This has been Platos Cave. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back with you on Sunday. But in the meantime, Dave,
be safe.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at Freedom Slips.